So if the first rule of the patriarchy is men protect men, then the first rule of the matriarchy should be women protect women and children. The thing is, a lot of women are not doing that because of the patriarchy. We have been conditioned since birth, most of us anyway, depends on, who your parents were, who your mother was, but we have been conditioned since birth to be mean girls, to pit. We've been pitted against one another. You see it, you see it in your everyday life. You see it with celebrities. You see it in so many different aspects where women will go after other women. I just don't like her, or they think that she's getting something that you aren't, or there's just something about her, or different ways. But we definitely have acted like mean girls throughout our lives, and that's something that we need to change. I don't know, it's like there's plenty of men who are changing and who are working on deprogramming from the patriarchy and acting like they're ready for the matriarchy, which again, the matriarchy doesn't mean women on top, men on bottom, like the patriarchy does, like a pyramid, like a triangle. The matriarchy is everyone deserves to be protected. Everyone deserves human rights. And the more privileged you are, the further out you are on the circle, which means you need to be more vigilant about protecting those who are more in the center of the circle. And one way we can start that as women is by not being horrible to each other. And that is something I am not horrible to other people. That's not what I'm working on. What I'm working on is when someone does something nice, especially a woman, when someone perhaps gives me a compliment or acts nice to me in a certain way, and especially if it's somebody I don't know, I have to stop for a moment and think about, like in the past, when people would mean girl me and say things that would be a compliment, but it's like, nice shoes. And, I'm talking about things along those lines. Where now if somebody comes up and says, ooh, nice shoes. And it definitely is in the tone, but part of me is like, is that really a compliment? Or is that an insult wrapped in what sounds like a compliment? Is somebody trying to bully me and be a mean girl to me? Or are they being truly sincere? So that's one thing that I think we, as women, we need to do a little bit better overall. Some are a lot better than others, but we need to learn to support each other a lot more. And that means working on ourselves, being the best version of ourselves, being good to whether they're your own children or other people's children in your lives, both the boys and the girls. But you really need to be careful of what you say about other women and yourself in front of girls. We need to be really, really careful on how we talk about other women and talk about ourselves in front of girls, but also in front of boys. And we just need to start working on building the community and making sure that our everyday choices and the people that we support in politics, that they are people who want to be better for all humanity, where so many of them are not. If yes, we need to have money. And it's okay to be rich, but not at the expense of making someone else poor. So when you are choosing who you're voting for, or you're choosing where to spend your money at, make sure that you are supporting those who are doing the right thing in regards to humanity. Do they pay their, if you're buying certain products or supporting certain companies, do they pay their employees well? Do they give raises? You know, there's some of these things you may not know just when you're going to a grocery store and buying something off the shelf, but you can do some research and find out about how certain companies treat their employees. If you have one good indicator for me with companies, if people actually retire from the company, then there's probably something good going on in the company. If they have a high turnover rate, then there's something going on. There's so many companies out there that are just greedy, and they won't give raises, they won't give promotions, they'll hire more people part-time than full-time so they can get around not paying any benefits, and this hurts humanity overall. When people can't support themselves and when people can't work at jobs that they feel like they are being treated well, it hurts humanity overall. So we need to be better about where we spend our money, who we support in politics, who we support in social media land, what platforms we do. There's so many different things, but the biggest thing that we need to start with is being a girl's girl, support other women, but you need to be the kind of woman who is not doing things that's hurting other women. So if you are somebody who votes for the Republicans, for example, you're hurting other women. You're hurting women all across this country and all across this world, because the Republicans, all they care about is money. They do not care about humanity. They don't care if, you're getting explosive diarrhea from eating some produce. They don't care that people are being unalived by their frozen faction. They don't care that WARs are being started in our name. The Republicans, all they care about is money. They don't care about humanity. Yes, there's plenty of the Democrats who, they're questionable. They're questionable about where they actually stand, but there's plenty who are actually out there fighting for all of us. Those are the ones that we need to support. There are a lot of companies who are doing the right thing for the environment, for their employees, for the people that are partaking in whatever product they are providing. We need to find those and support those. That's why one of the reasons I have a Costco membership is because Costco is one of the top companies for taking care of their employees. Whereas in my area, there are companies that don't do so well in those areas. So we need to start with one of the best ways to get the matriarchy off the ground in a large fashion is women supporting women, to start with, because we are the creators. We are the ones that bring life onto this planet, and we need to start that by not just in our words but also in our actions. And your actions obviously speak louder than your words. So if you're saying you're a girl's girl, but you vote for the red side, or you do other horrible things to women, you're not a girl's girl. So work on that. And I'll talk with y'all again really soon.